I'm 87 years old, and before you leave this video, listen to me carefully. These are not lessons I collected. These are 7 mistakes I lived with for most of my life. I didn't notice them when they were small. I didn't feel them when they were forming. I only recognized them when everything they touched was already gone. If you stay until the last one, you'll understand why this is the mistake that hurt the most. I wish someone had spoken to me like this before it was too late. No one did. Now all I can do is speak. My name is Daniel. I say that slowly now. At my age, even your own name feels heavy with memory. I live alone, not dramatically alone, quietly alone. The kind of alone where the house still looks lived in, but no one is coming back. At night, I sometimes turn my head when I hear a sound, forgetting for a moment that there is no one else here anymore. That moment passes quickly. Then the silence settles again. I don't have much time left. I feel it in the way my body resists me every morning. But what hurts more than my body is knowing how long I lived without realizing I was slowly dismantling my own life. Mistake 1 was believing I had time. I didn't waste my life in obvious ways. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't careless. That's what makes this so hard to accept. I thought I was responsible. I thought I was building something solid. Whenever something important came up, I said later. Not because I didn't care, but because I believed time was generous. When my children were young, they would wait for me by the door. I remember that clearly. Shoes on, coats half zipped. I would say later, and they would nod. Children accept delays easily at first. That's the dangerous part. They stop asking before you realize they've stopped waiting. Margaret would sit at the kitchen table at night and talk about her day. I would listen, but not really. I was tired. I told myself tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow came and went so many times it eventually disappeared. Nothing broke immediately. That's how you lose your life. Slowly enough that you don't panic. Mistake 2 was thinking my presence in the house meant I was present in their lives. I worked hard, long hours, extra shifts. I told myself I was doing it for them, and part of me believed that completely. We had stability, comfort, security. I wore that like proof that I was doing the right thing. But when I came home, my mind stayed at work. I answered questions without looking up. I hugged without stopping. I spoke without listening. I was there physically, but emotionally, I was always somewhere else. Margaret once asked me if I even noticed when she stopped talking. I laughed it off, said she was imagining things. She wasn't. She was tired of talking to someone who wasn't fully there. Children don't need perfection. They need attention. I didn't understand that until they no longer needed me at all. Mistake 3 was avoiding difficult conversations. I hated conflict, still do. Whenever something felt tense, I stayed quiet. I thought silence meant maturity. I thought it meant I was being patient. What it actually meant was that problems grew without resistance. Margaret was unhappy long before she said it out loud. I saw it in her face, in her pauses. I did nothing. I thought things would smooth out on their own. They never do. When my children became distant as teenagers, I blamed the world, friends, phones, attitude. I never asked what I had taught them by my absence. Silence feels safe in the moment. Years later, it feels like abandonment. Mistake 4 was choosing pride over repair. There were moments when I should have apologized. Real apologies. The kind where you don't explain yourself. You just admit you hurt someone. I didn't do that. I waited for the right time, for emotions to settle, for things to calm down. Pride is patient. It waits while relationships rot. I remember arguments where I walked away convinced I was right. Winning meant more to me than healing. Now I don't remember what I won. I remember what I lost. There are sentences I rehearsed in my head for years. They never reached anyone else. Now they echo only inside me. Mistake 5 was believing success would make the sacrifices worth it. I thought if I achieved enough, everything else would balance out. That one day we would sit together and say it was all worth it. That day never came. When I retired, I expected relief. Instead, I felt exposed. Work had been my distraction. Without it, everything I avoided rushed in at once. Success doesn't keep you company when you're old. It doesn't ask how you're feeling. It doesn't sit beside your bed when you're sick. People do. And I hadn't protected those relationships the way I should have. Mistake 6 was assuming love was permanent. I thought love stayed no matter what, that family bonds didn't weaken, that people understood even when effort was missing. I was wrong. Love requires attention. When it's neglected, it doesn't collapse. It thins, it stretches, it becomes fragile. My children still love me. I believe that. But they don't rely on me. They learned how to live without my presence long before I noticed I was absent. That distance didn't arrive suddenly. I built it slowly with every postponed moment. Mistake 7, the one that hurts the most, was not recognizing when it was already too late. I waited for a wake-up call, a dramatic moment that would force change. It came quietly. Margaret got sick, slowly. I took care of her. I did what I could. But by then we were two people connected by history, not intimacy. We were kind. We were polite. We were careful. But we weren't close in the way that matters. When she died, the house didn't just lose a person. It lost every conversation we never had, every moment we postponed, every version of us we never became. That was when clarity arrived. And it arrived when it could no longer be used. Some things cannot be repaired. That is the hardest truth of old age. Time doesn't bargain. People don't wait forever. I can't go back. I can't fix it. I can only acknowledge how quietly I ruined my own life while believing I was doing everything right. If you're listening to me, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I did and where it led. If even one part of this feels familiar, don't assume you'll notice when it's time to change. I assume that too. I don't have many days left. What I have is honesty, and this is it. If this meant something to you, sit with it for a moment. That's all I ask, because some mistakes don't announce themselves until the end.